morning, dear students. I'm really happy to be with you all online, and we are going to have classes for class 9 as well as class 10. Today's class is an important class because it concerns with grammar. Today's class is related to grammar, and we are going to discuss something related to verbs. So, the focus today will be on verbs. You see, when you were in the smaller classes, in class 8 and 7, or even in class 5, teachers might have taught you verbs, definitely. And we all know the simplest definition of verb. What is a verb? A verb is a doing word or any word that denotes an action, speaks about an action, can be called as a verb. Everybody knows this. This is the simplest and the easiest definition that you can have for a verb. But there are many kinds of verbs. In today's class, we will be focusing on the different kinds of verbs. All the verbs cannot be used in all contexts. There are some verbs which can be used only in the simple present tense. There are some verbs which are very commonly used with continuous tenses. There are some verbs which can be used with present simple and present continuous tenses. So what are those verbs and how are they used? This is what we are going to discuss in today's class. Now, as you see here, verbs can be broadly divided into 3 categories. What are the 3 categories? State verbs, mental verbs, and performatives. I repeat, state verbs, mental verbs, and performatives. These are the 3 major kinds of verbs. First, let us focus on this state verbs. Have a careful look at the whiteboard. What are state verbs? State verbs, they speak about a state. They speak about a kind of, state or condition, so to say. Look at these verbs. Cost, expect, feel, fit, have, imagine, measure, think, and wait. These verbs are generally used in simple present tense. They are not used with the continuous form. They cannot be used or generally not used or rarely used with continuous forms. The general usage is for the present simple. So let us take the first one, for example, cost. So I have a pen in my hand. This pen costs 50 rupees. This is a correct use of the verb. This costs 50 rupees. So if I say this pen is costing 50 rupees, I would be making a grave mistake. Because cost is a verb which is generally used with the simple present tense. Look at this one, expect. I expect good news today. This is the general usage. I expect to become the monitor of the class. Fine. But if you say, I am expecting to become the monitor of the class, I think the sentence is awkward because you are putting that verb into continuous form. So be aware of the verbs which are generally used with simple present tense. Think. Let us take this verb, think, for example. I think you are making a mistake. This is a correct usage of the verb. But if I say, I am thinking you are making a mistake, we have not made the correct use of the verb. I think you are wrong. Or I think there is something in what you say. So think. Imagine. I imagine. That is a correct usage. I am imagining, no. I imagine stories in my mind. I always imagine things. You always imagine things. So here it is used in the simple present tense. But if I say, you are always imagining things, the sentence may not be accepted. Though it may not be wrong, it is awkward. It is avoided. So certain verbs should always take the simple present form. If it is used that way, we can say the verb is used correctly. Weight, for example, take this word. What is the weight of this book? It weighs around 250 grams. This is a correct usage. The book is weighing 250 grams is not perfect English. Some people may say it is acceptable. No. Grammarians, according to their knowledge, always advises that we use these verbs in present simple tense. This weighs, this fruit or this vegetable weighs 100 grams, 150 grams. Right. So take care of these words. Cost, expect, feel. I feel hungry. This is correct English. But when you say, I am feeling hungry, it is not considered to be perfect English. I feel very hungry today is a better expression. But you can use them in continuous tenses sometimes. I will talk about that later on. But generally these words are used in simple present tense. Now, state verbs sometimes take a continuous form or a simple form. So as a general rule, these verbs are to be used in simple present tense only. But the state verbs sometimes take a dynamic form. For example, I smell with my nose. I always smell with my nose. That is a permanent activity. I breathe with my nose. That is a permanent activity. So, when you are using a verb to talk about a permanent activity, you use the verb in a simple present form. I walk with my legs. I work with my hands. I feel with my skin. I see with my eyes. These are permanent activities. But the rule also says state verbs sometimes take a continuous form. How does the state verb take a continuous form? I'll come out with an example now. I see with my eyes. Absolutely correct. But right now, I am seeing a rose on the floor. So what is happening at the moment? At the moment, you are looking at a rose. So a state verb can be used in a present continuous form when you are using words like now, at the moment. At the moment, I am feeling very hungry. So feel becomes feeling. Be careful. When certain verbs are used as state verbs, they are used in a simple present form. But when the state verbs are used at the moment, most of the state verbs become dynamic verbs. You see, he appears to be depressed. Look at this word, appears. You have to take a careful note of this. He appears to be depressed. What does the word appear mean here? It means seems. He seems to be depressed. He appears to be very angry. It seems that he is angry. So appears here refers to seems. But look at the same word taking a continuous form. He is appearing in a serial. So these days, he is continuously appearing in a serial. Or he is appearing in a serial today. So here, appear means action. It does not mean seems, but it means action, taking part. The Prime Minister is appearing to the audience today, or the Prime Minister is appearing before the nation today. The Prime Minister is appearing before the people today. We are talking about a kind of action which is going to happen now, very shortly. Or we are speaking about something that is happening regularly or happening at the moment. Now, for example, I hear with my ears. Now, here is used as a state verb, permanent. But I am hearing some strange sounds. How did hear become hearing? Because the state verb has been used to talk about something which is happening at the moment. So I am hearing some strange noise. I am hearing some strange sounds. This is the rule. So grammar tells us state verbs can become dynamic verbs when you use them in a continuous form when you speak about something that is happening at the moment. He often appears in acts. Now look at this. It is not appears. He often appears in acts. What do you mean by this? It is a regular thing. Amitabh Bachchan often appears in ads. Every now and then you see him appearing on television. He acts for certain kind of products. He's kind of an ambassador, acting as an ambassador for certain products, endorsements. So you can say Amitabh Bachchan often appears on television regarding advertisements. Simple present. Right. Verbs have to be used correctly according to the context. That is the most important thing. Knowing the verbs is the first thing, and more important than knowing is the correct usage. When to use a verb in a static form, when to use a verb in a dynamic form, when to use a verb in a present simple form, when to use the same verb in a continuous form. It depends on the context. So understanding the context of a sentence is more important than just memorizing the verbs. Okay, so far for the state verbs. Coming back, let me give you a recap. There are certain verbs which can be used only in the present simple generally. But the same static verbs become dynamic verbs when you are using it to talk about something which is happening at the moment. Now we come to the second category of verbs, mental verbs. You might not have heard this name. If you have heard it, is well and good. But what exactly are mental verbs? Mental verbs are verbs which are related to mental capacity. That is very, very important. Mental verbs are related to something which is associated with your thinking process. For example, find, realize, think, regret, and understand. All these verbs have to do something with your thinking process. For example, I find something wrong with your presentation. I find something wrong. Mental form. They are mental verbs. So mental verbs are used in present simple. Realize. I realize my mistake. Correct English. I am realizing my mistake is awkward English. I realize what I have done. I think you are angry with me. Perfect English. Don't say I'm thinking you are angry with me. No. Because think is a mental verb. And mental verbs are all the time used in present simple. They are rarely used in the continuous form. But let me say, yes, there is an exception. English is a language of exceptions. Think can be used in the continuous tense also. How? I am thinking of shifting my room. Or I am thinking of changing my room. So that is a process which you are continuously thinking about. So think becomes thinking. Context. You must always relate the verb with the context. English gives you the freedom to use a verb in the present simple form, at the same time in the continuous form. Generally, the verbs are used in the present simple, but when it comes to talking about something happening at the moment, you use them in the continuous form. Now, look at this. We regret to inform you that the train is cancelled. Regret is used in a simple present form, remember. But this is a decision. We regret to inform you that the train is cancelled. Simple present. But I am regretting my decision to give her the job. Now what does this mean? Regret has become regretting here. But why? I am aware of what I have done. I am continuously thinking of what I have done. That is why I use the word regretting. I repeat, we regret to inform you that the train is cancelled. The decision has already been made. It has been decided. So, we use this regret in a present simple form. But I am regretting my decision. Why do I use the word regretting here? I am continuously thinking, I am constantly thinking, repeatedly thinking that I have made a wrong decision. So I am aware of that. So when you kind of write a sentence in which you are continuously doing something, then you use the continuous form, the present participle. I regret to inform you because the decision has already been made, but I am regretting my decision. I am thinking of it again and again, but I have not changed my decision. That exactly is the meaning. Now coming to the last part, performatives. What are performatives? Performatives are verb forms. They are verbs which perform the action they describe. I repeat, they are verbs that perform the action they describe. Look at this. Acknowledge. Acknowledge is a verb which is used for performing something. I acknowledge your help. So, the word acknowledge is a verb and it is related to a performance. What is a performance? I acknowledge, I thank, I am grateful. I acknowledge your help. Admit. I admit that I have made a mistake. Correct English. But when you say, I am admitting that I have made a mistake, it is wrong English. So performatives, acknowledge, admit, advise. I advise you to come to school in time. Correct English. But I am advising you to come to school in time is not acceptable. Because these verbs are generally 99.99% used in the simple present form. Apologize, beg, confess, congratulate, declare, deny, forbid, guarantee, name, order, permit, predict, promise, refuse, remind, request, thank and warn. These are some of the verbs which are used in present simple and they are very rarely used in continuous form. I refuse to admit your decision. I refuse to accept your decision. Correct. I am refusing to accept your decision. Wrong English. In the same way, remind. Please remind me about the timing. So it is used in the simple present. I remind you to come to school in time. Correct usage. But sometimes they can be used. I have been reminding you again and again, but you have not listened. So see the usage. You have done something again and again. So to talk about that repeated performance, you use this in the present continuous form. You have to use them in sentences. Only then the knowledge comes. Memorizing them will not work. For senior classes, memory helps you only to a certain level. But usage, continuous usage will help you to get a clear concept. And for us, getting a clear concept is important, not just memorizing the rules. So look at this. Thank you. I thank you for what you have done. It's perfect English. I am thanking you for what you have done is not considered as polite English. So try to use these verbs in simple present forms and see how they are used in the continuous forms, the usage. There are books. I will suggest you some books. Buy those books. Read the rules. You will have a perfect idea. So we started with state verbs. Then we went on to mental verbs. Then finally we came to performatives. Now, before we close, let me kind of give you certain questions. Just tell me which is right. The garden is measuring 12 feet by 30 feet. Which do you think is right? The garden measures 12 feet by 30 feet or the garden is measuring 12 feet by 30 feet? Obviously, the garden measures 12 feet by 30 feet is the correct form of English. That is the correct usage. I am doubting whether I will get another chance. Which is correct? Which one do you think is right? I doubt, I am doubting. We don't use doubt in the continuous form. We always try to use it with the present simple. I doubt whether I'll get another chance. Now looking at the third one, I believe in his honesty. I am believing in his honesty, which is right. I believe in his honesty. Again, believe. It is a mental verb. So generally, as a general rule, mental verbs are used in the present simple. I am preferring coffee to tea. Which do you think is right? I prefer. Because again, preferred is a mental verb. Choice. I prefer coffee to tea. Remember, prefer takes the preposition to. But you don't use the verb prefer in a continuous tense. I prefer coffee to tea. We are suggesting that you take rest. Which do you think is correct? We suggest is correct or we are suggesting is correct? Definitely, suggest is correct. We suggest that you take rest. So my dear students, when we talk about verbs, we must always remember the state verbs, the mental verbs, the performatives. How these verbs are used. In what tenses these verbs are used. They matter the most. Just keep watching the oncoming video clippings. You will have some more idea regarding the verbs. And please keep in touch. Please keep revising and keep doing the assignments which are being given to you. So we wind up with this. Till we meet again in the next class. Stay safe and good.